So speaking of, big miles and Tesla and EVs, is there anything else that was like a big amount
Could
of
it go 500 miles?
Probably not, but it can go a mile very quickly. Speaking of long-range electric cars,
by the way, drinking game, guys. Every time we say "speaking of," take a shot.
And you'll be
not if you're driving.
Yeah.
Well, what if the car's driving? We can make that work.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, yeah. Speaking of taking the record, Lucid Air unofficially, almost officially, taking the record for the longest range electric vehicle ever. They just received an estimated EPA range of 517 miles. And you may be asking me, Ben, but it's only estimated. Maybe this is fake. Well, the company that did the testing is using the exact same methods that the EPA uses to get these estimates. So it's pretty legit. And you can research that and go into that. But they should be able to get a range of over 500 miles. I would put it 517 was the reported one in this story here. This is the Lucid Air. If you guys don't remember, it's been around for a while. A few years back, Marquez did a video where he reviewed it, and it was the prototype. Since then, they've had some financing issues. Things went up, things went down. They're back in business. They have an actual factory that you can go see down in Casa Grande, or if you're like me from Arizona, you call it Casa Grande. Which is about an hour south of Phoenix. Let me think. South. Yes, it's south of Phoenix. And with that, it's pretty incredible, man. Now, they're unveiling this in September, which at the time of this recording is just a little under a month away.
They're releasing what? I don't get why it says releasing it. We already know what it is. What are they?
Previously, they had a prototype and an unveiling. This is the production car that they're going to be showing off, an actual real car that you can buy and then have. Okay. So September 9th, they're doing a virtual unveiling of it. We'll just talk about this real quick, and then I want to show some photos of it. The coefficient of drag here is 0.21, which is bananas. I think the Bugatti Chiron is like 0.27. I forget what the Tesla Roadster is going to be. It might be less than this.
The 3's pretty low.
Yeah. Yeah. But
because a lot of those high-end cars like the Chiron and stuff, like they have a lot of downforce too. Like the Model 3 is 2.23.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So it's incredible. So all these cars are just doing great. So anyways, in an interview here, this is on TechCrunch from Kristen. Shout out to her. She does a great job. The batteries are going to be from LG Chem. And they're talking about we're not just loading this thing up with a gazillion batteries, kind of like GM was talking about doing. They're talking about actually being incredibly efficient with the drag coefficient there. So ideally, they're going to have a really high efficiency, high performance electric vehicle that is going to be the longest range one in the world, which I think you have to have if you don't have the supercharger network. Right? When you have the supercharger network, you kind of don't need 500 miles. I mean, I think it's cool. I always love when people are pushing the boundaries, but it's not really necessary at all for the basic driver. I mean, I just interviewed my friend here in San Diego, who's a county supervisor on the board of supervisors, and he has a Ford Focus electric, has 75 miles of range. He says it's absolutely plenty. He, prior to the pandemic, get up, take the kids to school, go into his office, go work out, come back home, whatever. It's like plenty. So you don't need a car with 500 miles, but I do like that they're pushing the limits there. And the target here is that they even have it in the name. It's a luxury electric vehicle. So this is not something that's going to be, the Model 3. It's not going to be the mass market. We're going to sell 10 million of these. The idea is, and you'll see as you kind of scroll down and you see like the profile of it. What do you guys think about this?
The front half I like. The back half kind of, I don't know what to think about it.
I think the front looks a lot like a Dodge Charger or something. It looks a little kind of very normal, I guess. But the overall shape, I actually kind of like it. It looks kind of Porsche Panamera to me. It just kind of looks a little different. It would stand out on the road. It would be a little bit unique.
Yeah, the back half here is where it gets a bit interesting with the hatch, right? Like really big boots.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's the Model 3's got a little weight in the back too. Yeah, it's got a little junk in the trunk.
Yeah.
It's thick.
Yeah. I'm thinking juicy.
But look at the interior. This thing is bananas.
That's cool.
I can't wait to see this. I hope I get to see it in person. Yeah, look at that. So the back. So this is a true.
Geez. Oh, because the seats recline in the back. I've seen
the seats recline almost fully.
Yeah,
like it's bananas. Like this whole thing is just crazy luxury. You know, first off, you get to park it under this like massive jet. There's like
that's a normal thing that people do with their cars.
There's like this beautiful girl that just hangs out all the time whenever you're around. It's really weird, you know.
Wow, look at how reclined you are.
Right, like it reclines almost fully. It has screens galore. It has all kinds of stuff. I think this is more of a car you get driven in, honestly.
Right.
Well, it says something about the optional executive package or something. So I guess it could have that with the reclining back seats, and there's probably a less frou-frou option.
I really like the front interior though. It's minimalist, but it's still extremely functional, and to me, just has that luxury kind of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like it's more than the Model 3, but it kind of has those Model S luxury vibes, but more modern than
this is what I want the Model S to update to. You know, just get a nice tweak. The Model S is getting so old.
Yeah, it's long in the tooth.
It's ready to get some kind of interior refresh and work into this. I think that looks really nice.
Yeah.
Kind of that compromise between the S and the 3.
Yeah, I'm really curious how these seats feel when you sit in them. And so, yeah, like I said, I don't know what they're going to be doing, but I hope to be able to see one.
Do we have an approximate price on this vehicle? I forget.
Well,
Doesn't it start at like 70 or something?
What? Say it again?
Weren't they trying to start at 70? I feel like that's a number that stands out to me.
55 was the original, the base model. Yep.
If the base model's anywhere near this good looking, and
does that come with wheels?
Right.
Let me see. $1,000. It doesn't say here. So if you recall though, and I'll just try to Google quickly, Lucid Air base model 55,000, because I did a story on it, ages ago, and Lucid Motors electric car will cost $60,000.
That's from 2017.
2017, right? So this was back when this was when we first kind of heard about the car.
Hey, and didn't they go through some struggles there? Like, didn't they almost fall apart at some point?
Did kind of go bankrupt, and then the Saudi wealth fund or whatever it is bought a big chunk of it. And so this is from Sean. What's up, Sean? Good friend as well. This is back, so things were a bit different back then, but I think you got to remember 2017, when was this? March of 2017. Like the Model 3 was like a twinkle in someone's eye at that point, right? It didn't even exist. So this was something where really anyone making an electric car, the thought was not Model 3 or Model Y at all. The thought was Model S, because that was the king at the time. In my view, it's still the king, but you get the point. So this was really targeted at that, and so they had, I thought it was 55,000, and the idea was that it would be, it would be really price competitive with the Model S, but be more luxurious, have more range, et cetera, which are all easy things to say. Right? There's a lot of people out there that do a 3D rendering and ask for money, and this, at least even back then, was a prototype. Now we're doing an official unveiling. I don't know when deliveries are supposed to happen, though. I would imagine it's within a year or so, if they have the actual production car ready and the factory's already been coming along.
If they can actually deliver a car in 2021 with 500-mile range before the end of the year for under 100,000 with those that looks that good, and actually deliver, I think they'll be around. I think that's a compelling vehicle, very compelling vehicle.
Agreed.
That would actually just kick some butt. So
it's not for everyone, but I think there will be definitely a strong market for it.
Well, that looks like a high end, like top of the line BMW, Lexus, Mercedes, that level of vehicle. and those are always over $100,000. You know, when you start loading up a 7 Series BMW, you're talking starting at like 110 or something. You know, and this looks, you know, this competes with that type of stuff, or the Porsche, you know, the Panamera again. Like it's.
Well, everything even about this website just drips luxury.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think that? Okay, so this is not conspiracy. This is I'll say conspiracy for fun. So that comes out September 9th. Now remember that Tesla Battery Investor Day is right after that. Do you think
22nd or something?
Or yeah, it's either 18th or 20, somewhere kind of.
I heard 22nd.
Okay, probably 22nd then. Do you think that Elon will be happy and Tesla will be happy knowing that they're dethroned? And do you think that Battery Investor Day will be like this? I mean, if any time is the time to do it, it's right after one of your competitors comes out with an official EPA rating higher than you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So your question is, do you think that Tesla will announce a new EPA rating, whatever?
Yes.
Let's
place our bets
possibly.
now.
Possibly. I mean, if I had to bet, would they announce? But okay, so, and I've heard people in comments about this talk about, well, the Tesla Roadster is 620 miles a range. You know, well so this isn't whatever. But that's different than getting an actual like EPA rating. That, you know, saying what it can do based on what you know is one thing, and I don't doubt that the model Roadster will get somewhere near there, but that's very different than, oh hey, the production car is going to be unveiled next week, and we have all this real data, real testing on it. It's a very different thing than that. So, will they announce a S or X or 3 or Y above 500 miles? I could see an S going above 500 miles. I would place $5 on that. Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
My whole thing about Battery Day is are they going to talk about some new breakthrough technology with Maxwell and all that, or is it going to be more about, you know, Project Roadrunner and the production side and the fact that they're getting the cell price down to, you know, below $100K or $100 per kilowatt or whatever? That's my big question mark, because if it is like breakthrough battery, higher density, cheaper, lighter cells kind of thing, then you might see a refreshed Model S that gets 500 plus miles or something. Or it might just be like, we've got this new production thing, which wouldn't be as sexy, but it means more, you know.
Look at Autonomy Day. It was not sexy, right? It was
right.
It was kind of like the WWDC, where it's like the developer conference,
right?
You know, where you're like, oh yeah, new Apple HomeKit SDK is out. Here's all the features, and everyone's like, what the hell? I don't care.
Right.
Show me the phone.
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder which version we're gonna get. Is it going to be the techie nerd presentation, or is it going to be the sexy shiny car presentation?
Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's still a part of me that thinks they might have a refreshed Model S that they're going to show off as a one more thing kind of deal.
The tri-motor plaid Model S that I believe is this fall in September. I don't know if that counts as fall. I think it does, but yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, and if they do, I hope I can go. I don't know. Like, I've not heard anything. I don't know what's going on. I assume it'll all be virtual, but Elon, all the comments I've seen is that they really want people to be there, and that's why they've been pushing it back and back and back and back. I would place money on a bet that the newer Teslas actually already have the newer batteries.
Mm-hmm.
That, because now, for, you know, mysteriously, the Model S and X can now charge 250 kilowatts. Okay.
250.
Yeah, 250 full V3 charging.
Yeah.
Right. And 400 plus miles of range on the S. Tested, like Car and Driver, Motor Trend, or somebody drove it. I mean, the things they're doing now, I'm looking at it going, this all smells like there's a new battery in there, and you're just not telling us about it.
Has no one cracked the case on, like, bought one and just, you know, like EV West or, like, you know, or Rich Rebuilds? I'm surprised they haven't got their hands on a new one.
You know, us poor YouTubers, man, we ain't got money like that. Come on. What are you thinking?
Crack it open, see if there's a new cell.
That would be a Sandy Monroe thing for sure. But Rich would only buy one if it were crashed. Although, if someone like buys a brand new one and crashes it, like EV West or Rich Rebuilds would be all over it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, you could make a lot of money if you right now put out a YouTube video being like, found new cells in the SNX, you know, like that would be the biggest story of the year.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't really like verify that without destroying the whole car.
Could maybe pay for the car, or at least the battery. You can take a battery out and replace a battery, and you could maybe make your money. I don't know. There you go. Start a YouTube channel. Somebody take out a battery of a brand new car, tear it apart. Don't die in the process.
How to be successful on YouTube. Go buy a $120,000 car, destroy it, and film the whole process. And don't
I
kill
saw
yourself.
a thing for Mr. Beast. He had a thing where he bought like a million. He spent $1 million on lottery tickets and then like showed what he won or something. It's like, yeah, you know, when you have $1 million to spend on a YouTube video, you can probably get a lot of views with that. It's a little bit of a hack.
He's done even other crazier things where like literally there's just this to me was actually. And I love Mr. Beast, but I looked at this. I'm like, this seems like a low moment. He had a video. It was literally just a giant pile of money. And it was $1 million. And it was last person to take your hand off of it wins $1 million cash.
Right.
And I'm like, that's just... That like you know when it was like surprising the pizza guy with the house or something, there was like something unique and interesting. Now it's like literally just here's the cash, go.
Right.
Like
destroy your platters for me.
Yeah, like entertain.
Not a lot of thought went into this one, you know.
Yeah,
weird world we live.
So can I speak to something that they were saying in Discord just real quick? They were making the argument that, you know, the number. Sorry, I could scroll back. Let me give credit where it's due. This was Get Swifty. He said the number of times he's needed to drive 500 miles without stopping for a half hour is 0. And I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this whole argument. It's like, do we need cars that are going 500-600 miles on a charge?
Right.
I 100% agree that the 250-300 mile range, especially with the supercharger network, is perfect. You know, you're perfectly fine. You can get anywhere. But I do think that there's a psychological component to knowing that electric cars could actually go further than gas cars, and especially when on a regular basis, like when all electric cars are going as far or further on a charge than gas cars can get, there's still somehow a lot of people who are worried about range anxiety out there. And
well, I think you're right, because there's kind of the two compromises. Like it takes longer to charge and it doesn't go as far. And if you could at least kick butt on, you know, if you can go further, but it takes longer to charge, I think it can can help compensate for that mental gymnastics there. Yeah.
To me, it comes down to what I mentioned at the beginning was the supercharger thing. I absolutely am an advocate for cheaper EVs. That's what I really, 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 really want. That's why anytime any of the big automakers talk about an EV that compared to, $100,000 performance Model S is a dog, sure, but that's not what we need in the world. What we need are EVs for people that people can afford.
They're competing with the cars they're looking at, the Civics, the
correct.
Toyota
I want
Camrys,
Honda to make, and they are making a really cute little one, but not in the U.S. But I want Honda to make the watered down version of the Model 3. I want to take the Model 3 and be like autopilot. Nope. 10 cameras, Sentry mode, dash cam. Don't need it. Streaming, this and that, built-in navigation. Don't care. Just strip out all the expensive stuff and just make me a regular car that drives awesome and is very economic and affordable. Like, I think it would be a huge success if Toyota or Honda, and I point at them because they have been the laggards here and not done anything in this space, as ones that could just make the cheap, affordable EV. That's what the world needs, you know, because the market, that's the millions of cars that are sold every year. And that side, they're not in this $100,000, you know, luxury car side. But if you don't have a supercharger network, 500 miles kind of is a good thing, right? Because if you do want to go on a road trip, 500 miles will get you where you want to go, most likely. If you're going on unless you're Tim Dodd and you're driving halfway across the country every other week, like for most people, a road trip, you're going to be able to get there without even needing to charge at all.
And by the way, 500 miles, 800 kilometers, that is, I mean, that's a full day's drive.
Yeah.
That's a good 10-hour drive, you know.
And if you find a spot that you can charge overnight, like, solid. But if you don't, that's what you need if you don't have the supercharger network. So I think it's totally viable for startups to be pushing the limit to that. I think eventually, honestly, 5, 6, 7 years from now, we'll be looking back at like 1,000-mile EVs as the norm.
Right.
I really do.
Well, I think that might be, but I do want to advocate for one reason that I'm realizing now is a really big deal. Why I would love to have a 500 or 600 mile vehicle range EV. So my parents are looking at like some kind of pull behind camper. Yeah, I think a lot of people are really getting into campers, van life, like these go out because now it's it's the safer option for family vacations and stuff. Is like, what if you had a camper? You don't have to go to hotels and all that stuff, and you can be socially isolated a lot easier. So yeah, my parents are looking at one, and that got me thinking, if I could go in with them and help get a decent little camper, but like what could actually pull it? A Model Y with 300-mile range is going to be at least halved. Even though it can tow 3,500 pounds, which is good. That's what 1,500, 1,600 kilograms or whatever. It's a decent amount of weight, or it can tow. That's a decent towing capacity. But if your range goes from 300 miles to 120 miles, it's not very
my buddy Tony just did this in a brand new Model X, which has, I think, what is it, like 330 miles or something? The brand new long range Model X, and he towed a 3,000-pound trailer that had motorcycles and stuff in it, like dirt bike kind of things. Mm-hmm. And he said it was absolutely terrible. He said it was really, really difficult. And the biggest problem was the car, even though towing it's made to tow, like they bought it with a tow hitch, the car has no concept of what that does to range. So when he's planning his route, even using all the other software and everything, the car just was like literally about to leave him stranded multiple times, and he had to make stops, like way more stops than he thought he was going to have to make, because the car wasn't taking into account what he was towing. So he said he had a really bad experience with it and was basically like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. I'll just, tow with my gas car. Mm-hmm. And part of the challenge too is pulling into a supercharger. So he was doing the thing where he didn't want to, but he just pulled in sideways and blocked 7 of them to charge. And then if someone else came up, he would get out and because otherwise you have to like go unhook your trailer and then go charge and then come back.
Or that one on the end. That's what that one on the end is for. You're supposed to do a 90-degree turn.
Right, if there is one of those.
If there is one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't always. So anyways.
And people use
them.
So
you're 100% right. That's where the 500 miles of range actually, even for Tesla owners, comes into play, because towing is, your range is just crap. So
that would, and you guys know I've been looked into like streaming trailers and different solutions for, being in Florida or Boca Chica doing live streams of rocket launches and having cameras and stuff. So I've looked at different trailers. My dream would definitely be, it would be super cool if I could have something that I could tow between Florida, Texas, and other launch sites and stuff like that. That I could tow with an EV would be amazing. And currently, like, even if I bought a brand new Model X right now with a decent towing capacity of like 6,000 pounds, I really realistically couldn't hardly road trip with it. It'd be a huge pain in the butt.
What would be cool is if there was a way to, in your trailer, drop in more batteries and just plug that in, so it just kind of added range.
Yes.
Definitely, like, technically possible, but definitely not supported, or like Tesla would not be. There's no way that Tesla allows this currently, but because it's funny.
I asked Elon about that with that Cyber trailer. There's a picture of the Cyber truck pulling a Cyber trailer, and I said, please tell me there's options to have battery packs that can extend the range. And he said, I don't know if he actually replied or not, but a lot of people were like, yes, please, because that could really solve that problem.
It solves it. Yeah, totally. And ironically, yes, batteries are very heavy, but these cars are so efficient at pulling things that it almost doesn't matter. Yeah. So I did the math on the whole like Tesla Semi with an entire 50-foot trailer loaded with nothing but Model 3 modules, not packs, but modules, so they're even more space efficient. And you could get something like 7,000 miles of range. And even with it loaded, because loaded, it adds a lot of weight, but the Tesla Semi is rated to pull 80,000 pounds. Right. So it was actually not that big a deal.
Within its capacity. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this clip from our show. If that's just not enough for you and you want to watch the full episode, you can go to olfpod.com/YT.
And if you want more from us, you can consider becoming a Patreon member. You'll get early access to episodes. You can join our awesome community. You can actually watch us record live and get your name in the credits by going to olfpod.com/Patreon.
So thanks everyone for watching. Check back every Friday for new clips here and new episodes on the main channel.
Thanks everybody.